Purdue as Mitchell looks for an answer.
Ooh, pure, nothing but net.
Garland to the basket, stole the inbound pass. He lays it in.
Basketball down there.
Very high percentage shot for him from that spot. Merrill for three. Tristan Thompson on the floor. Diaz for three. That's short. Hard rebound. Ricochets out to Merrill for three again.
For the We Like Sports Show, tune in and see the latest the crew has to say regarding the latest sports topics nationally and locally. Make sure to check out our website as well, WeLikeSportsPC.com. Subscribe on all platforms, including podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and much more. And be sure to follow us on X at WeLikeSportsPC.
Started with Anderson and Ramirez.
He said, let's go, right? Yeah, I'm sure he wants the game to start, but they won't let it. And rightfully so.
You're muted.
Phone is muted.
There you go.
Let's try this again. Welcome back to the We Like Sports Show. I'm here with Cam. I'm Payton. We're waiting on Avi, but we got a lot in store today. We have our perfect bracket in store for the NCAA college football playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to hear what yours is. I'm intrigued to hear what everybody's is today. On that note, comment and let us know what your perfect bracket is for college football coming up this weekend, already starting. But before we end up getting things started, I do want to mention, because we are talking college football, Cam.
Yes.
Avi's here. Look at this. But before we get into that, hi, Avi. How you doing?
What's up, fellas?
Looks like he was wearing a sport coat really quick.
Dude, rocking a sport coat on a Tuesday would be a wild move.
Not out of the ordinary for you.
Fair enough.
But now that Avi's here, Avi, ask Cam how his Sunday night went.
I'm assuming you enjoyed yourself because you won some money.
Big money. 10 leg parlay hit. Thank you. That was great. So, but also the highlight of it wasn't winning the bet. It was beating Payton twice in college football.
That's what we were waiting for. That's what we were waiting for. But I did get one victory. It was a pick six to seal the game.
It was.
Eat shit, Cam.
That's awesome.
Listen, I still hold the record.
Have you guys been playing college football 25 without me? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, will you have it?
No, but I can.
Okay, we'll get it. Let's play.
All right, I'll get it. Jeez,
because
bro.
I literally downloaded it on Friday, and I got my PlayStation 2 Fridays ago because, you got to spoil yourself from time to time.
I'm usually in bed by halftime too on Sundays, and
yeah,
I stayed up to play with this dude. So,
well, I'm glad Payton got wrecked in college football 25. It's exciting to hear.
Dude,
great way to start the show.
My saving grace was the fact, though, that Cam was up by 28, if not more points in the fourth quarter, and blew that game. I've only played online against him. That's it.
He was actually the first time I played online as well. I've pretty much just been doing the dynasty, but I will say this: the team that sealed me the 2-1 victory in the best of 3 was the Horned Frogs. Horned Frogs.
Let's go. Go Frogs.
TCU.
But
Frogs.
On that note, I want to end up diving into sports news. For when I saw this tweet, and I wanted to end up mentioning it before we end up going down to the baseball front office and Cody Bellinger and what is very interesting alongside with him and Stanton. Don't know if it's true or not, but...
Oh, it is. It's true.
Yeah. But somebody said Jaden Daniels will be better than Lamar Jackson. Do you agree or disagree?
That's a weird one because I want to disagree, right? But the way Jaden looks as a rookie is very good. I don't think he has the same talent that Lamar did coming into the league. The more I talk this out, the more I just lean towards I think Lamar is better, and will stay that way through the record books. Cam, what do you think?
Lamar developed a arm better throughout the years in the NFL. Looks like Jaden Daniels has the arm now. The rushing upside for both Lamar is more elusive, but Jaden Daniels is a lot quicker, in my opinion. It's a tough one as of now. You got to give me another year of Jaden Daniels to determine. Those sophomore slumps are either real or they're not, and that's going to determine a lot for him.
I mean, it's not out of the ordinary, though, because, for one, that type of quarterback, Lamar Jackson still manages, but does he have the same type of season without Derrick Henry?
It's a good point. I mean, you add Derrick Henry to that team, and it adds a whole new depth of the passing game for him. I mean, we saw early in the season, even with Lamar, his passing game didn't seem to be there. Mark Andrews wasn't getting any looks. He was running routes, but he wasn't getting the targets that he had normally gotten. Obviously, that's kind of regressed back to the mean on the positive side there. But yeah, I don't know. I think Lamar is just so talented, and I don't think Jaden Daniels will ever really compete with that. Even though I think he's a great player, don't get me wrong, and I have Terry McLaurin in fantasy, so that I trusted Jaden to be a great passer, but I don't think he's going to progress like Lamar did. Even though like you said, Lamar got Derrick Henry this year, and I don't think it would have gone as well as it has without him. I still think he would have been a better quarterback, if not even better, because he would have had to elevate his play even more if he still had a similar backfield like he did with Gus Edwards and crew before.
Yeah, that's
J.K.
definitely fair.
Dobbins. But yeah, that question is definitely interesting. Initially the rookie year, I'd say Jaden Daniels has the better rookie year. But again, though, look at the schools they came from. Lamar Jackson came from Louisville, and Jaden Daniels was at a very good college football program. So, it kind of makes sense. It's the biggest bust that you could end up all agreeing on is the fact that Bryce Young is that's all I got to say. He's showing somewhat of an emergence finally, but it took his sophomore season, which wasn't a sophomore slump, but it was at first.
I will correct you. I got family in Kentucky, and they will hate me for not correcting you here. To those Kentuckians, it is Louisville.
Sorry. Sorry, I corrected myself before you got to it. You know what team you didn't play in college football, though? Louisville. So that's how much he supports.
Yeah, it's my family, not me. But hey, there you go. One of my colleges out of high school was University of Kentucky. I wish I would have been able to go there, but too expensive.
Oh, I believe it. That expense. College in general, right? Stay in school, kids. But before we dive into the middle, I think, of the show with the perfect bracket, free agency, MLB.
Go ahead,
Bellinger to the Yankees.
Yeah, I saw that news not too long ago, and I'm pretty stoked on it. I think Cody Bellinger is a great player. He's obviously had his ups and downs, but when that guy gets hot, he is hot. Just about as anyone else can be in the league. I think he'll be a good piece for the Yankees. I don't know how they're going to utilize him. I haven't seen anything about that yet. Do you guys know if the trade is official yet? Because I know the reports that came out about an hour or so ago were not official reports as of right now. Payton, have you taken a look at that?
I have not, but I was kind of relying on our boy Cam to fact check you. But
Yeah,
we could,
Jeff Passan is reporting that has been traded. That was
All
an
right.
hour ago. I know it was reportedly, but it does seem like that is a done deal. The biggest thing that bothers me in this is, the Yankees, big spenders. They got the paycheck. Open up the paybook. Let's do it. Just open up that checkbook. Let's keep doing it. Payroll, payroll, payroll.
and on
And they
top of
still
that,
got $5 million from the Cubs.
and on
Why
top
are
of
the
that
Cubs
too.
even offering that?
That's very bizarre because I know they sent Cody Poteet, who was a good reliever. He had some innings in the playoffs that look good, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised the value there, like Cam, like you're saying, it just doesn't add up the value on each side, especially if Yankees are getting cash consideration of 5 million on top of Bellinger.
Yeah. It's 5 million and Bellinger for Poteet. Poteet? Is that how you say it? Poteet?
Poteet, yeah,
Yeah.
very very strange. I
That was the
mean,
biggest issue with this whole trade was the Yankees wanted them to take some of the contract and the Cubs are like, "Hey," that's the thing, man. It's like, you go to Jeff Bezos and you're like, "Hey, I want to give you this, but I want money in return. But I'm
yeah,
also going to get a similar like it's just
yeah.
crazy to me that these and then you got Rob Manfred. I don't know if you've seen that one earlier today, guys. Did you see what Rob Manfred came out and said today about the league?
What now?
It's about the
He said
stuff, baby.
he's saying that defers could become an issue here in the future. Oh, and so now it could become an issue after the Dodgers just deferred like 3, 4 contracts.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That sounds about right. Instead of getting ahead of the issue, we're gonna let the best teams in the league do it, and then we're
Yep.
gonna reconsider. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting. I wonder how he'd handle that, though. It's, I mean, it's always possible that he would go in and say, these are retroactively changed now that we have a new rule, and these contracts that are deferred have to be shifted, however many years earlier. But it's also possible that I think this would be more likely that he goes and says the contracts that have already been signed are grandfathered in per whatever clause in this new rule, basically locking in these absurd contracts that a lot of people had issues with before they were signed, let alone once this possible rule goes into effect. But we also know Peyton and Cam. I'm sure Peyton, this to be a fact. MLB threatens to put rules in place and will never do it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take that with a very large grain of salt rather than for face value.
I mean, we were just talking about it last week briefly or 2 weeks ago, but the Golden Bat rule, that was a thing. And it was a rumor and it never came about because he thought it was absolutely asinine, essentially. But he probably listened to fans' response and that's what happened. But I mean, not only for the Yankees, another rumor, which a good source saying it, Carlos Baerga, Anthony Santander, not out of the ordinary, not out of the question for the Yankees to acquire him next. What more do you need?
Yeah, man. If we could get Santander, I think he's such a great player. I mean, I've heckled him plenty of times at the ballpark over his name, but regardless of the bank name, the guy can play, and would be a great piece for the Yankees. I do know the Orioles are probably still in the mindset of we're in this window to win a championship, so I'd be surprised if they don't get him back there. But yeah, man, that would be pretty cool. He's kind of like a underrated version of Juan Soto with the amount of power you get in his bat. And I'd say he's a better defender in my opinion. And I believe he's also a right fielder. So it would be a
Yep.
good piece to add after this loss of Juan Soto.
Which, speaking of which, because we tried to end up talking about this last Tuesday in the lost show of the Wheel X Sports Show between Cam and I, where Cam sunk or swum, as I said last Sunday.
It was hell, not high water. High water. See, we're
Here we
already
go
messing up on
again.
the
That's
words. Yep.
one.
Sunker
Where's
swum is
Keegan
hilarious.
at when you need him? But yeah, Juan Soto to the Mets. How you feeling about that?
The Mets needed another superstar to go with Lindor. we'll see if it works out. I mean, obviously, a position player is way better, especially at his age. But you look back at the Scherzer and you look back at the Verlander contract. Those guys were coming off really good seasons, got paid big time, and the Mets had to eat that money and trade them away just to kind of reset. Soto obviously being a different player, I do think that ballpark benefits him a little bit better. You can kind of close the gap in right field for the defense. He's still got enough power to get it over the wall, so I do think that will benefit him a little bit better.
I don't know if you guys saw the clip from earlier in the MLB season when the Yankees played in Queens. It was Juan Soto playing right field and having some issues with the size of right field compared to Yankee Stadium. And the Mets announcer was absolutely trashing Juan Soto's defense just for them to sign him a few months later. And I'm curious if down the road there's going to be a confrontation about that between Juan Soto and the Mets announcer.
It doesn't get unnoticed, I'll tell you that much. Like, they're going to have a conversation at some point and be like, hey, man, what was this about?
Exactly my point, yeah.
It probably will be at spring training and way early before the season, and it's probably going to be a laugh, but yeah, that's crazy.
I do think, though, that Juan Soto may have some issues defensively with the Mets. We've seen that with the Yankees. We saw it in the playoffs with the Yankees. He just can't play good defense, especially coming into his right. His speed is just not there.
Yet he wins the Gold Glove in right field this past season.
Yeah, that was BS. We all know that.
That's
Yankees fans said it here first, guys. So
we had that conversation when we were talking in the group chat, like, how is this possible? This guy who, visibly when you're watching games, you can tell he's just not a superior fielder. Obviously, his bat is otherworldly, but for him to win a Gold Glove is bizarre. There's definitely some. I don't want to say there was something nefarious, but we'll say there was allegedly something nefarious. How about that?
What's Fair enough. One word in the league? Trying to think of it. Ruxpin.
Collusion is a word you could use. That's for sure.
There's some collusion going on in the MLB there.
Allegedly,
yes.
We're live. We can't make accusations here. We can make allegations, just not accusations.
I'm not doing any allegations. But I mean, also, we didn't get onto the fact of the Cleveland Guardians trading away Andres Gimenez. But before we dive into that, we're live on TikTok today. Want to shout out not only the people on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, but TikTok as well. If you're tuning into TikTok, feel free to end up jumping in and having the conversation. I don't know if they'll end up being able to see it, but we will end up seeing your comments, and somebody, probably me, will share it with you guys. So when we get to our perfect bracket part of the show, feel free to dive in with that. But the Cleveland Guardians, Andres Gimenez, traded away, see you later, to Toronto for Horwitz, that then gets traded to the Pirates for Ortiz. At first, hated the move, but now I'm kind of getting to the point that I'm a little bit more understanding of it. Santander, as we ended up mentioning, wouldn't mind seeing him in a Guardians uniform. If that happened, you need a right fielder. He was here at one point. Bring him back home. That's my idea. But that involves money. We know how that goes. With Andres Gimenez, definitely, I mean, Cam, I know, has a lot to say about it. He gets very heated on this topic, I know. But I guess, Avi, what are your thoughts about the platinum glove Andres Gimenez being traded away for essentially a single A bat and a pitcher at this point, because you didn't keep Horwitz?
Yeah, I agree with you totally, Payton, when you say, like, I was unhappy when this trade first went through. Before we saw the 40 chess move that came afterwards, but I'm gonna miss watching Andres Gimenez play second base. That's for sure. Seeing him out there every day making incredible platinum glove level plays. is something that the Guardians fans in particular really appreciated. I also know plenty of Guardians fans who had a big gripe with Andres Gimenez and had wanted him gone for a long time. So you can kind of understand both sides of that argument. But when it comes down to it, I think the Guardians did a good job of getting value out of him. They got a young pitcher out of this double trade, someone that I think can be helpful for our rotation, and hopefully the Guardians don't have the rotation issues they had in the middle of the season this year because of their moves to bring in young pitchers like this. So I'd say overall it's a good trade. Am I going to miss Jimenez? Yes, but I think it ended up on the positive side for the Guardians.
So I actually disliked the move to start. Started to understand a little bit. Started to be like, okay, not terrible, not a bad haul, and now I'm back to hating it. You ended up trading a 2-time Gold Glover, a Platinum Glover, and everyone comes up with the Jason Kipnis comparison when it comes to the hitting per side of it for this club. Kipnis only batted in his first 5 years compared to Jimenez's first 5 years. He only batted .010 more. Unfortunately, for that aspect of it, he also had more RBIs with that. That a lot comes with the Francisco Lindor, Jose Ramirez being ahead of him versus John Kennedy Noel and Bo Naylor being ahead of him. That is a big issue with that. For me, it comes down to you got a outfielder in single A in the trade with Toronto. You traded Horwitz away, and then you go to the Pittsburgh Pirates and make a trade with them. Unfortunately for that one, though, you got 2 single A starting pitchers. And my issue, though, is now with Luis Ortiz. There's reports that he has anger issues coming out of Pittsburgh. In other words, it seems like you could have another Trevor Bauer-ish pitcher coming to Cleveland. And we don't need that right now, trying to make a extensive run at continuously going toward the championship.
I mean, with Ortiz, though, too, and the thing that I ended up kind of being reminded is, for one, Cleveland baseball as you know it, if you're not producing the way the Guardians spend their money, he's owed, what, 90 million or was owed 90 million? It's
He'll
not
be owed
justifiable.
Yeah, 90 million over what, 5 years?
Yeah, and
So
it's not
that's still cheap
justifiable.
though for a glove like that.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, it's a great glove, but offensively, I mean, he kind of started to regress the last 2 years, which I understand, but the people you bat around is also part of that impact too. But with Ortiz, you have to realize who's in that clubhouse, not only your manager, not only your pitching coach, but also in the clubhouse alone. Like, you have Jose Ramirez, which is a good clubhouse leader, right up his alley with Ortiz, more than likely. Then you have Austin Hedges, who anybody will run through a brick wall for, even if he is batting 110. And I mean, winning at the end of the day, the Pirates, if that was part of it, is them losing. That ends up being understandable why you have anger issues, frustration. I mean, he only ended up going, I think, half the season, but winning cures all. And
Yeah,
if you
but
can win,
here's my issue though is Luis Ortiz only had under a 3 ERA in the last 3 years once, and that was last year. He had a middle of the pro above 3 ERA with I think 3.36 on the year. Other than that, he was throwing a 4.52. He's not going to be elevated in this pitching staff is really good at creating, finding the hidden gem underneath, and I get that. But when you talk about the leadership aspect of it, Jose was here when Bauer was here. Kluber was here when Bauer was here. Tito was here when Bauer was here. Carl Willis was here when Bauer was here. You're getting the same type of anger issues now with Luis Ortiz, who, you pull him too soon, he could be breaking Gatorade in the clubhouse, something we haven't seen since, God, Albert Bell back in the 90s. I mean, that's a huge, huge thing there. And then you also talk about, the not producing aspect of it. He's only been in the league for 5 years. That it takes time. I mean, to hit .010 lower than Kipnis in his first 5 years compared to his first 5 years, it's not far off. But it's a tough trade, man. It's going to, I'm just curious to see when you got a runner on third with one out and you got a diving stop, or you got a guy that can just run across the field and snag it and just gun him out. That's just going to be tough to see.
Yeah, I
And
mean, most saved runs defensively for the team this year, I believe. Like the guy made a difference, that's for sure,
Yeah.
and that difference is gone.
I will
He's
say
like,
this as well, Peyton. You said the last 2 years his offense has gone down in numbers. There's one common denominator there, and that's Chris Valleca. The last 2 years we had Chris Valleca, the hitting coach. Prior to him, he was hitting about 270, and after that, we'll never know now. His
well,
his
also
numbers
too,
dropped.
from what I heard, and this is kind of why I'm on more of the understanding side with Jimenez being gone. And no matter what, you're missing a piece defensively or not. I mean, I think it was game 3 when he ended up having that defensive play in the hole at second and first base, made a
Mhm.
diving catch, stopped by him, threw it to Naylor. Naylor ended up having a good play as well too. I mean, probably his most athletic play you saw during the postseason with him dragging his foot across first base. But from what I heard is that with Jimenez, he gets in his own head. You end up trying to be in a slump. He's going to try to do everything and just every mechanical thing that he can to try to adjust it. And that's his downfall, is that sometimes you don't go back to the basics. You don't go back to the fact that these are your mechanics. This is your at bat. If you stick to it, you're going to get out of your slump. But he ends up trying to overcompensate, it seems like, for his swing. And that's hopefully from a career standpoint, he can figure it out in Toronto. That's what they're hoping for. And that's what I mean. Andres Gimenez never did us wrong in Cleveland whatsoever. If he had a choice, he'd probably want to stay here. You want to see him succeed too. But I mean, the two single A pitchers too. I mean, one of them was a pitcher that the Guardians wanted to draft, and I think the third round, and he fell right before the Pirates, and the Pirates drafted him. I'm not opposed to that because the Guardians already had interest in him at one point. But that pitching, along with the pitching that they just drafted, it's not going to be another 3, 4, if not longer time by the time that you see these pitchers in the rotation. This is when Shane Bieber's gone. This is when Tanner Bybee is at Shane Bieber's age. This is when I don't even know at this point. Luis Ortiz is going to end up being at later on in his career as well. He's going to be around Tanner Bybee's age at this point. Like everybody's going to end up being, I can't even say more developed, but more experienced. But this is what you have to end up looking at. And the bottom line is that the Guardians have to spend money. And that's why I'm trying to figure out what is the next piece to fall. There's still nothing. We're a week past the trade now at this point. Got to figure something out.
So as of right now, this is a part of rotocamp.com. The projected 2025 lineup and pitching rotation for Cleveland right now would be Quan in left, obviously Thomas in center, and Will Brennan in right. Your first base would be Naylor as of right now. Second base is Angel Martinez. Shortstop Rocchio. Third baseman Jose Ramirez. Behind the plate, Bo Naylor, and then Manzardo DHing. It's not terrible. Obviously, I would like to get a right fielder as well, similar in your boat. My issue is now you trade it for a pitcher who is not great. His career ERA is a 4.65, and you don't have Bieber until about July, August. So your rotation is now Bybee, Lively, Gavin Williams, Ortiz, and McKenzie. I am not confident in that rotation at all. At all. I would rather
Even
have given up Jimenez and another prospect to go get a star-studded pitcher at that point, but we didn't do that.
with McKenzie, though, too, I still don't think he's going to be in the big leagues. Like, he's somebody that needed surgery a long time ago. His arm is going to be thrown off, not even fall off, thrown off at this point. And unfortunately, what I could see happening is the fact that the Guardians need a starting pitcher. Logan Allen might be that guy that fills that hole for McKenzie, which you really don't want to see again. But
Nope.
McKenzie is going to end up doing the same thing he did this year, put the team on his back, or at least try to, and tough it out. And he's still young, but the more he waits for this surgery, the longer he's going to end up being regressed because of 2 years of surgery and recovery on top of that. Shane Bieber got lucky in his scenario. He caught it early. He's going to end up being back a year later. McKenzie's going to end up playing through this. His joints aren't connected anymore. Can't really do much about that. And
No.
McKenzie is not a fourth or fifth. If anything, he might be a bullpen guy, and that's even pushing it.
Yeah, you're talking fifth rotation, then would either be Logan Allen or Joey Cantillo, and that is not a starting rotation I'm willing to roll out there again this year. It worked this year because, your offense was good and your defense was good for most of the early part of the season. But this rotation, like last year, is not going to survive a full season.
Well, okay, so I know it's unlikely, guys, but what do you think are the chances of the Guardians going out and trading another key player like Josh Naylor to get that star-studded, as you called it, Cam, pitcher? It's something I think I'd like to see, but I don't know if it's realistic.
I don't think there's a guy out there. Like, if you were to pair Naylor and Jimenez, like, let's say with, a trade with the Rangers or somebody like that, you could go get they got a log jam in their AAA farm system right now. Wyatt Langford looks good. Evan Carter looks like he's going to be a stud. You got Garcia, you got, Josh Jung, you got all these guys that are looking like they're going to be good for the Rangers. I would have liked to go see, hey, if you can try to grab a couple of their younger guys, give them a surefire thing with Jimenez at defense, and then you could move Simeon to DH because Simeon is getting up there in age. And then you could also just keep Naylor first. There's ways with that. They got a lot of good starting pitchers I would have liked to grab. It just doesn't seem like there's a team out there that would be willing to take that on now. I mean, Naylor to the Yankees possibly would have been able to get you at least Rodon back if you paired Jimenez
I
in
don't
there.
foresee
But
that happening.
no, but yeah.
And the
I
other
don't
question
either.
then it comes down to is, are they going to sign any of the free agents? Like what Walker Buehler's still out there, and there's a few other names.
Yeah.
But that's not really the Guardians' MO, is to make these kinds of big signings. So I don't foresee that happening. I think it's, if anything, more likely that they conjure up some sort of trade, some sort of probably lopsided trade that they're getting more value out of it than they're giving away.
And if you got Walker Buehler too, I mean, I know some figures that have been thrown around on the Twittersphere, as I think the kids are calling it. I'm not sure anymore. The X sphere, whatever. But anyways, like 2 years, 20 million, 24 million. That's not crazy. And I mean, he's going to end up being probably your second, third rotation pitcher, and I don't think he wants to stick around with Los Angeles because, I mean, near the end of the postseason, he was coming out of the pen. It's not what he wanted.
His value is roughly a little under 10 million a year, but he is 30 years old already.
So it'd be a short-term play, if they were to go that route. Which it's hard to tell like where the front office and their scout team is at for the Guardians. Are they looking towards making another run next year? Are they not? It's really hard to tell based on what they're doing right now. So I think we got to wait another couple months, and then we'll have a clearer picture as to what we're going to get next season, in terms of the attitude of this team from the top down.
Kind of switching back to Sunday's show, Keegan also mentioned about Pete Alonso to the Cubs. Do we think that's more or less likely now with Bellinger gone?
They need a power bat. I mean, Bellinger was kind of that pop in the lineup for him. I mean, he was kind of middle hitter in their lineup. It's more likely now than I think it was previously. But I also don't see Pete Alonso. I think that's why they ended up getting Soto, is so that they could model a 1-2-3 or a 2-3-4 stack in their lineup. And I mean, McNeil, when he's healthy, is also a good thing for the Mets too. And the reason why Jose Ramirez didn't succeed in the postseason and who's batting around him, Josh Naylor was a guaranteed out, almost. And after that, you had John Kenzie Noel that, I mean, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. His swing chase rate needs to be adjusted before or during spring training. It needs to be worked on. Obviously, they're putting in work during the wintertime, but you have to adjust that. And I think that's how you might see him be a right fielder for the Guardians. But otherwise, you have no chance.
I brought up the stats to you guys a while ago, or at least I think I did. He's only had 2 years since he was 16 years old. Not Mackenzie. Noel is 24. Since he was 16 years old, he's only had 2 seasons below 20% strikeout rate, and that
So
was
that's
at
just his style, is what you're
yep,
saying. It's
yep,
going to be hard to take
yeah,
something out of something that's so deeply ingrained in his play
yeah.
style.
Because he did it back when he was 17 in rookie ball, and he did it his second season in single A when he was 19, and that was 18 and 16%. After that, though, it's been upper 20s, mid 20s, even as high as over 30%. So, as much as it's like, yeah, he's got a great power bat. I'm not taking that at least like Jim Tomey was one of the most strikeout guys on that team in the 90s. He would strike out consistently, but he knew how to draw walks. He could hit a single. He did have a power bat. His average was not terrible, but he struck
Yeah.
out a lot.
You know what
And
I could
we
add to
saw
this?
it in crunch time too. Like, sorry to cut you off, Payton, but I
No, you're
just
good.
want to throw in, like, in the most important series of the year, they knew exactly how to pitch to that guy. They were throwing him heaters on the inside corner that he couldn't get to, and then throwing him away with the slider, and he would strike out every single time. We'd be watching the game going, "Here comes the slider. What do you know? Slider, strikeout."
It was
Dang
Ahmed Rosario PTSD pretty much.
It's very similar, yes.
And I mean, who was it with the Yankees too? Holmes? No, not Holmes. Who was their one setup man?
Canley, he threw like 27
Yes,
changeups in a row.
to
Hmm.
4 batters in a row. Like you watching it at home knew what he was throwing next because he was throwing the same damn pitch over and over again. And that was the most frustrating part, is that we knew the scouting report at home, and it seemed like they didn't. And that's the most frustrating thing as a fan, is just the fact that you already saw it coming from a mile away. But to the point of John Kenzie Noel's chase rate again, going back to that, the one thing that you could be hopeful for, and maybe this is the reason why you hang on to Josh Naylor for just a while, not a long-term extension, but how did Josh Naylor improve as a hitter? He ended up, after chasing a lot and striking out, reminiscent to John Kenzie Noel, started to take the ball the other way. He started to put the ball in play more. He was hitting home runs to opposite field, pull hit side. Teach a thing or two to John Kenzie Noel, because if that's the case, could you imagine? I mean, Josh Naylor at one point, it's forgotten because of the postseason, but he was batting 330 from the June of 2023 or 2022 to 2023 for a full year, batting 300. Teach him how to end up not sitting on the fastball all the time, but taking that off speed pitch the other way. He's a big boy, but you're going to end up getting a double out of him at least, and he has more speed than Naylor. Just teach him how to end up doing that, and you're going to end up talking about John Kenzie Noel. MLB, national media ends up hitting on it all the time. Noel's swing and his approach, his batting stance has so much power driven through it. If you just get a hold of it and make contact, he's going to drive the ball. If you drive it the other way, people are going to be fearful of him. And then you have Stephen Kwan, Lane Thomas, Jose at your 3-hole. If you trade away Josh Naylor, you have John Kenzie Noel at your 4-hole. We're almost talking about this year's lineup again being something that opposing pitchers are afraid of, but instead your 4 and 5 are strikeouts. But
Yeah.
One name we haven't brought up that I think is important to throw in this conversation is Kyle Manzardo. Don't forget we have him in waiting. It's possible that if we do get rid of Naylor, Manzardo could be our opening day first baseman.
And I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I am too. And we saw him improve in the stretch leading up to the playoffs last year to the point that, some of us were saying like, hey, why isn't Manzardo out there more? I mean, the guy's contributing on defense. He's hitting the ball hard. His average started to go up in the last couple months leading into the postseason. And I think to not bring him up when we talk about the possible trade of Josh Naylor is just ridiculous because he's going to be part of the team next year. That's for sure. It's just whether it's going to be in a capacity of like he comes up when Naylor's hurt or needs rest, or is it going to be like this guy is legit, which I think he is, and should be starting.
It looks like DH is his more likely role, but go ahead, Payton. Sorry.
But at the same time, with the DH role, though, too, it's the other player that we've been talking about. Jhonkensy Noel is going to end up seeing playing time. If it's not in right field, he's going to fill that DH spot, and that's the way that Cleveland has done it previously, and the way that Stephen Vogt has done it is you have Jose as your DH from time to time. You have one of your outfielders with a bigger bat from time to time. You had Manzardo on there when you needed him, and Manzardo is almost too good to end up just being a DH, but Noel could also play first base. So if you trade away Josh Naylor, you have Kyle Manzardo, you have Jhonkensy Noel because he was an infielder originally. He was a third baseman, a first baseman, moved to right field.
Yeah.
We're figuring out the problems right now, possibly, and it's end of December, middle of December.
And don't forget, too, we'll have David Fry back healthy as well.
Yeah, about halfway through the season. And that's the other thing is I've said the theory before. I'll say it again. If you don't want to trade Josh Naylor, wait until David Fry gets close to coming back. Start evaluating Josh Naylor from end of March all the way until he comes back. Then that's your idea of, do you want this guy long-term? Because right now the answer is no. For a while, It seemed like the organization wanted him to stick around because that's why Manzardo had to get sent back down. But he had to is the key because he wouldn't have been having the same type of September batting around 300, if not over 300, if he didn't go back and learn. Jackson Holliday for the Orioles, same thing. He had to end up going back, learning after having a terrible start to his career. And, I mean, he hit well against the Guardians in September and August, right? August, September. Okay. I had to do the months.
You were right, though. I mean, it's kind of been a trend, actually, we've seen with a lot of these like young players that are coming into the league seemingly earlier and earlier for whatever reason, but they're able to come up, not do too well, or they start off real hot and then drop off, and then they go back down and, spend some time kind of processing the information that they received at the MLB level, and then they can go back up. I think these young players kind of have to, there's twofold in their situation where it's like they need to get used to the aura of the MLB playing in an MLB stadium, and the vibe of it is way different than anything they've experienced before. Obviously a lot of these guys played in college and have that kind of experience, but not all of them. And then the second part of it is just the pitching is so much better from, AAA to MLB. It's something they have to see once, I think, then process what they're seeing from both of those things. And then that's why they're able to come back and do better. And I think that should affect the Guardians well this year. Guys like Manzardo, guys like Martinez, Jhonkensy Noel, I think they're going to do even better this year than they did last year because they had so much exposure as young players in this season that they're going to be able to come in with this comfort and confidence this following season.
Let's hope that is the case because the Royals are right on their tail. Like, they are not far off. One misplay by Cleveland, and the Royals are running this division for the next 3 years.
And on top of it, too, I don't want to bring it up, but when you look deeper, Jack Caglione is also in their system, too. He's not going to end up in the same thing with Bazana. I guarantee you he will not start in April. The one time that you had somebody start from spring training in Cleveland was Stephen Kwan, and that was unexpected. And he obviously has shown that that's the reason why that has happened. But other than that, I mean, Kansas City drafted really well. They're going to be set for the future. Cleveland should be too as well, though. But at the same time, the thing is you have to end up having some kind of established infield. And with Angel Martinez, if he is the starting second baseman, once again, he went down. He came back up in September. He didn't really necessarily need it, but at the time when Jimenez was regressing this year, Angel Martinez developed into being a two-hitter when in a leadoff guy when Stephen Kwan was hurt. He was batting upper 200s, 300s, and I'll take that out of my second baseman. Defensively, I mean, he was an infielder originally. I'm not mad about it, and he held his own in the outfield. I'm intrigued to see what he does.
The competition is going to come down between him and Juan Brito. Those are your two that it's going to come down to. And like you brought up with the atmosphere and everything, Brito is playing in AAA where he went, 40 doubles, 21 home runs, and a 270 batting average. But that's AAA. It's not the majors. Fantastic down there. What's it going to be like up here?
I mean, it's just like I was saying before, the pitching between those two levels is uncomprehendable, unless you are in the box and seeing it yourself. Obviously, I don't have exactly, the knowledge of the difference, but we know from years and years of literal data that the pitching is just far superior. So if these guys can break out, it'd be nice.
Keegan made an appearance.
Oh, we got Keegan in here.
Yeah, he is.
Up. Not happy about Cody Bellinger. It sucks to be you, buddy. Well, I do need to ask. I think this might be the most important question of this entire conversation about Guardians for next year. What about Miles Straw?
No. My phone will go through my computer screen right now. No.
Also, as Keegan brought it up, hold on. Before we go back to the Miles Straw point, for your listening audience on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, all that, or if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, click the bell or whatever you end up doing so you get notifications. I've never mentioned it before, and Keegan has, and he doesn't even get it. But try it now after we mention it, and maybe it'll end up actually appearing. Maybe you know how they end up always saying on those mainstream channels, click the bell, subscribe, do all that stuff. But Miles Straw, what?
Yeah.
I was just joking around with you boys. We know Miles Straw isn't really going to be part of the equation for the Guardians next year, but it's a fun thing to bring up and see how Cam reacts because it's usually something like that.
If he touches the major league field again, I will not be at any of the games at the ballpark pass this year.
Okay,
just remember,
what if we just
Carrasco
bring him up
got
and have him pinch run and then get
picked off? We experienced that before. No. Getting picked off at first. Oh, I was used to the grass being a little closer. Shut up. Such a lame. Okay, well, before we get into the perfect bracket thing, I just want to say we got nobody in.
Yeah, Keegan doesn't seem stoked on Poteet.
Well, you might get Pete Alonso now, so there's that.
I was just about to ask him that.
I'll say honestly, I think you're more of a Paul Goldschmidt contract range right now,
which isn't the worst, but
better glove. He's a Gold Glover, multi-time.
But you were saying the perfect bracket, which I hope before to participate.
Yeah, well, he could send it in the comments right now. How about that? But before we get into the perfect bracket, two things. One, Jim told me was at that home run that Jack Caglione hit for 512 against Vanderbilt. Yeah, that was. He even said that was impressive. So there goes your Jack Caglione reference right there. But then going back to what's recently going on in college football, and that is that every quarterback that is possibly in this draft class said, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 or 7 teams that are in this top 10 that could need a quarterback. And they said, no, thank you. Quinn Ewers said he's probably coming back for another year. He'll go to a different college because March Manning will take over in Texas. Drew Aller said, no, thank you. I'm coming back to Penn State, and it's looks like Carson Beck might come back another year.
Wasn't Carson Beck, was it him that has been in college for every year like Stetson Bennett? Is that the same quarterback, I think?
Bo Nix was in there for a long time as well.
Stetson Bennett was the one who was in college for like 7 years.
He's like 30.
Now Keegan's making me check our Twitter.
And I believe Stetson Bennett was older than Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, or maybe not Justin Herbert, but Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, a number of other players that were in the NFL last year, and he was still playing in college. But that's happening everywhere around college. That's not just Georgia.
It would probably be on the show one, Payton. There, you should probably do some research. Yeah.
Break it down for us, though. Explain it.
Yeah, so it's just we're going to take every single matchup from this. Go ahead and try to see who actually can get the perfect bracket out of this. Obviously, I'm assuming we're probably going to have very similar brackets here, except for I think I might be one of the only ones that doesn't. But we're just going to see if we can predict correctly here. Anybody that can outbeat us, I mean, it'd be interesting to see, but there's a lot of injuries in college football right now for some of these teams.
You know, mine's very interesting. I actually did some show prep. Piece of paper. All out there.
Okay. Yes, yeah,
what is Keegan saying? Oh, my gosh.
Kent State
he went
is
to
winning
Kent
it all.
State, obviously. Can't read, can't write, can't predict your bracket any right.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Keegan. My first choice of college was Zips, so Zip Nation, Akron. Hey.
I would have chose Kent State though. Not gonna lie, when I was looking at schools back 10+ years ago,
we would have been rivals. Would have been the Wagon Bowl, the wagon wheel rivalry. That whole story is crazy to me. But okay.
Didn't Kent State have like a fully defeated season this year? Didn't they not win a game?
I think you're right for football.
They got smoked by Bowling Green, though.
Got smoked by everyone they played.
Good point.
Didn't Akron win the championship this year, too?
I think so. Yeah.
Or the MAC?
Action?
The MAC attack.
No. MAC was Ohio U beat Miami.
What did Akron...
I believe that is correct.
Now we're doing research.
Yeah. Can't believe we're talking about Kent State football right now. Look what you've done to us, Keegan.
Keegan.
Can't write.
How about we just skip the MAC talk and go straight to the juicy stuff?
Yeah. All right, Avi, why don't you go ahead and kick us off then?
All right, sure. I'll run down, we'll call it the left side of the bracket.
Want to do first rounds only, or are we doing the whole thing?
Whole thing.
I mean,
okay,
we can do the whole thing. Sure. In Clemson, Texas, pretty easy pick for me here. I think we're all going to be on the same side. I got Texas. All right.
Although I really want to do that.
I knew it was coming.
Even though I did pick Georgia over Texas, which, anyways. Next matchup there, Tennessee, Ohio State. I'm going to have to go Ohio State here. I'm a little biased being a Clevelander, but I think Ohio State has to have a bounce back game after that abysmal performance against Michigan, which really put a damper on our birthday celebration that we had, but oh well. Next, SMU, Penn State. I'm going to take Penn State.
Ooh. I actually took SMU in this one.
We're getting yours. Hold off.
Sorry. Gosh.
Don't get me wrong. Do we want to go game by game rather than running each side of the slate?
You want us to catch up? We'll catch up then.
Yeah, let's catch up. Let's go game by game.
So
Payton, go ahead. Give us your three and we'll catch up.
Peyton's not allowed to talk anymore.
We got a Go Vols on Facebook right now.
Oh,
Shout out to
Brandon.
Brandon.
Let's go.
You've actually might have seen him at the stadium at one point, one way or another.
Probably.
That he doesn't go to games too often though, but he is at the games. If that makes sense.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, then let's start back at Clemson, Texas. I got Texas on there. You guys got Texas on there.
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Easy peasy. Move on. Next, we're looking at Tennessee, Ohio State. I'm with Ohio State. What are
I
you
am
guys
as well.
thinking?
I'm with Ohio State. IO.
All right, we're making this easy, boys. It sounds like from what Payton said, this next matchup, SMU, Penn State. I'm Penn State. Sounds like Payton's looking the other way at SMU.
Yep.
You know, me and you, Avi, we are Penn State. Let's move forward.
I don't think we are Penn State.
Good.
That's fine.
That's funny. All right. Well, then last matchup on this side of the slate is Indiana, Notre Dame. This is going to be an interesting game with how well Indiana's been playing, but I still think Notre Dame inches out. And
yeah, I'm going Fighting Irish as well in this one. They're more scrappy. Keegan's even calling you out right now.
Hey, let me tell you
Why
what.
I lost
Keegan,
my talking rights.
I think if SMU plays a little bit cleaner of a game, that they win. That's just me though.
James Franklin is
But
the favorite king though.
Right, and Penn State's favored in this game, and it's going to be, which I mean, it means it's in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, it's in Penn State, so it's going to be a whiteout probably too.
Yeah, it's going to be a whiteout at Penn State. The vibes are going to be absolutely electric there, and I think SMU is going to fold. We saw that in the first half of their championship game. Like, they just played like crap in the first half. They almost came back to win that game. What was that, ACC tournament? Big 12.
Yeah.
Big 10.
For Penn State?
No, I'm talking SMU. SMU's ACC, I believe. They played.
I'm not allowed to talk. So I'm not.
No, you're allowed to talk now. Go ahead.
No, that's wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Keegan might cut you off though and say you're not allowed to talk, but that's Keegan.
Right. Avi called the Browns the Breads this week, so there's that.
Well, okay, what was it? Unexpectable or unspectable, whatever you said.
Unexpectable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Hey, but guess what? Muth was moothin'.
Dude, I told you the Muth would be moothin'. My bold calls from Sunday's game were pretty correct. I mean, I said bet the house on Brian Thomas Jr. and dude, he went for 10 for 105 and 2 touchdowns.
Avi said, check please.
Yeah, right. I was very excited about that. I needed that in fantasy, even though I had the bye week. Needed that.
At Bucky's at FanDuel.
All right, you guys ready to move on to quarterfinals? You ready?
Hit him with it.
All right. First matchup. We all have the same game here. It's going to be Arizona State against Texas. Cam, go ahead first.
I'm going Longhorns again on this one. Texas.
You guys are with Texas?
Longhorns.
See, I think this one might be a little more complicated than Cam wants it to be. Scattaboo. That guy is awesome to watch, but he's not going to be good enough to beat Texas, so I'm also on Texas.
I'm surprised Arizona State is actually where they're at. I feel like everybody.
Their dominant win they had was the reason they jumped up that high.
Oh, for sure.
But makes it for an interesting college football playoff.
Yes, we got another game coming up. We all three of us should have the same game here: Ohio State, Oregon.
Yep, the rematch.
The revenge game or no revenge game? I'm going revenge game.
I want Ohio State to win so bad. Like, so bad. But I don't think they do.
Well, the Oregon's coach admitted to using that rule against them to win that game to keep the clock running. And the very next week, the rule book was changed. So they can't pull that crap this time. Ohio State.
Oh, screw it. OH. Give me Ohio State. Give me Ohio State.
But
all right. Well, yeah, I'm not surprised we're all in agreement there. I am lightly affiliated with Ohio State, so I feel like if I didn't pick Ohio State, I might lose my position there. So Oregon wins. I sent the bracket.
Payton's
I'm
losing
looking,
shit.
Keegan. I didn't see it.
Keegan has the script, I guess.
No, he sent it now. Here we go. This guy's my hero. All right.
What's Keegan's first couple games that we just went through?
Round 2, Oregon and Ohio State, Arizona and Texas, Georgia and Notre Dame, Boise State, Penn State. He agrees with all you guys, not me.
Yeah, your SMU Pike fucked it up.
Well, so do you have SMU winning second round against Boise State?
That's the question.
Not. Boise State wins.
Yeah,
You have
see,
Boise State winning.
I'm with Penn State on this one.
Yeah, I think Penn State could pull out a shocker. Their team is all around much better than Boise State, but Boise State has the people's champion, Austin Genty. So
Ashton.
I think it's whatever, dude.
It's not Gentry, it's Genty. We went over that one 20
times
times as
right.
well.
He just said Austin Genty.
No.
He's trying, guys.
Ashton.
Kutcher? There you go. Hey, we go.
That's
you guys are so cute.
I hate you. Look at us. Yeah, look at us. Look at us. We doing the hot ones challenge next? Let's do it. Look at us.
Not me. But
not that they sold the company to a bunch of investors. So sad.
I did see that.
Hopefully, don't ruin it.
Somebody said there should be a show called Cold Ones, where everybody starts taking drinks as they slowly start increasing.
That's actually a great idea.
Alcohol.
All right, that's another discussion when we're not recording live.
Avi is all in for it. He's like, let's
do
watch Saturday.
I would watch the shit out of that.
We would be the shit at that one, all right? We'd make the show.
Yeah, when we hit it big. Austin Genty's my husband. Yeah, Keegan, I said
Ashton.
Ashton, that's what I said.
You said Austin.
No. I probably did. Whatever. Ashton Kutcher is our
SMU and Boise State.
Yeah, SMU
Penn
Penn State against Boise State. I'm with Cam on this. I think Penn State is the more experienced team. I tend to lean with experienced programs in these type of games, so I'm going to go Penn State.
Keegan has Penn State.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just chipping in.
I'm waiting for the segue. There's no segue. Nothing. All right.
Not that
time. Notre Dame and Georgia now.
Moving on to Notre Dame and Georgia. Payton, who do you got here?
Go Dogs.
I like it. Cam?
Those dogs are going to be neutered. Notre Dame for the win.
That is a bold call.
Shout out to Payton. We don't end up doing that.
Straight from college game day right there.
So that's my Pat McAfee moment.
Yeah, that was your Pat McAfee moment.
What's your pick?
My pick's Georgia here, man. Georgia has just been too good, especially in these tight games that they've been playing. They find a way to win. And I think, they're going to be just fine in the playoffs.
My issue is with Carson back. How's his elbow? Because that backup was not great.
That's a good point. And we're probably not going to know until a couple days before the game, if that, which I'm sure will affect betting lines and all that nonsense. So, yeah, good point. We'll have to keep that in mind. Doesn't really change my pick, though. I mean, I think Georgia is competent enough to prepare a backup to play really well in 2 weeks. I'm sure they're going to be practicing like he has to start.
They're going to duct tape the football to their hands, so they're running back and receivers this upcoming prep week.
Yeah, right. I thought you were going to say they're going to duct tape Carson Beck's arm together, which they also would have.
They could do that too as well, but
let's just go ahead and play NCAA is duct tape my quarterbacks together.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Your one was pretty hurt when I played against him. So
Talk about it. UNLV.
we're on to the finals now.
Wait,
the
Keegan
semifinals.
picks go Irish.
Keegan goes Irish.
Goes Irish.
Interesting.
Keegan's my boy right there. That's why.
Interesting.
So we have. So I have Notre Dame versus Penn State. You guys have Georgia versus Penn State.
Georgia, Penn
I have
State.
Georgia versus Boise.
Oh, Georgia versus Boise, and you have Georgia versus Penn State. Okay, so we all have a different version of this one.
Yep. So I guess we'll start with Payton, who
Yeah.
has Georgia against Boise. I feel like this is a pretty easy pick, but Payton.
Well,
tell us.
Keegan has Notre Dame advancing over Penn State, going Irish. As for me, Boise State over Georgia.
He wants a Cinderella story.
You really do want the Cinderella story, don't you?
Dude, it's not my fault. The perfect bracket is right here.
Shut up, dude. You're so corny. Jeez, bro.
Oh man.
Must be from Wisconsin, you so cheesy. All right. That was horrible.
Okay, all right.
Dude, I just saw the viewers drop off so hard right now.
I bet.
Don't forget to ring that bell.
Somebody just joined.
Ring that bell and comment. Penn State can't win big games, even worse than OSU. I will not stand for this slander of Ohio State.
Hey, Ohio State did beat Penn State though, so they do have that going.
This is
for them.
true. So neither of them can win big games.
So Notre Dame and Penn State on my side. I'm going Penn State to the finals.
Wow. Interesting pick. I would have to disagree. I got Penn State, Georgia on this one. I got Georgia going to the finals. Same thing as last time. I like the team that's been there. And if it comes down to two teams who have been there, who Penn State's been there, Georgia's been there. Who's in the SEC? Oh yeah, it's Georgia. They're gonna win. So give me Georgia.
Go Dogs.
Well, speaking of that, now we go on to our next matchup here on the opposite side, which is for me, Ohio State and Texas. Aiden, you have the same thing. Am I correct? Hey, what is up with the squeaking right now, sir?
The dog's just having too much fun, bro.
He's having way too much fun. He's getting too hyper.
It's the witching hour.
So Ohio State versus Texas for me and Payton. Payton, who do you have?
OH.
Oh no. I'm going Texas in this one.
Orange down.
I knew Texas was coming on this one. I got Texas and Penn State in the finals, boys.
Keegan has Oregon and Texas. He's got Oregon advancing.
And I've got Georgia, Ohio State.
Man, you hyped up the SEC and then you left out the other SEC team. I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, it's because they shouldn't be an SEC team.
Hey, they are, and they went to the championship in their first year.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
You can give me all the high time you want. I got the hat right here.
We're
going with it.
Where do you live? Oh, yeah.
Texas. Yeah, soon.
Where do you live?
We're going Texas soon.
Well,
versus Boise State. Battle of the States.
So when we get to the end of this bracket.
Against Keyshawn Judkins.
Don't tell me you're going Boise State to win it all.
He is.
OH.
He's got them as a national
He's got Ohio State going all the way.
I've said it once, I'll say it again. If you lose a game to Michigan, there's only one way that this season makes sense, and Ohio State's done it before. Once you start a tournament for the first time, they are the inaugural winners. History repeats itself. First-time tournament in the playoff bracket of college football history. They lost to Michigan. How else do you avenge it? How does Ryan Day keep his job? You win the whole damn thing.
I'm kind of hoping he doesn't win his damn job, though, but, keep his job and everything, so.
Either way, he's going to keep his job.
I hope
not. Then, Cam, you're probably going to like my pick, because you know what this game has me reminiscing of is 2 years ago, Georgia, Ohio State, national championship, field goal to win the game.
New Year's Eve, right before the ball
New Year's
dropped.
Eve at midnight. I'm down at the flats in Cleveland, Ohio, partying my butt off. They're blowing freaking confetti into the air because they thought the field goal was good and Ohio State won. Yeah, but they didn't. They lost. So I got to go Georgia.
Go down.
Go the same way. I think Georgia, even though I want Ohio State to win, Georgia's going to do Georgia things. They're going to win by a field goal and break the hearts of all the people in Ohio.
Well,
Again.
For me, I got Penn State and Texas. And Penn State has dominated this whole entire tournament. Texas is going to have slightly easier route. Tennessee's going to have to go up against SMU, Boise, and then they're going to have to play Notre Dame, in my opinion. With that being said, for Penn State, I can't support Jerry Sandusky, so I'm going to go Texas.
Did you pick that whole side of the bracket to be Penn State just so you could say that?
No, that was
Yes,
not
you
my
did.
intention.
Yes,
That
you
was
did,
not my
bro.
intention. I thought of it just now, actually.
You totally did that.
I
on
definitely
purpose.
did not.
I cannot support him. I picked them this
I
whole
can't
entire
support Jerry
I can't
Sandusky.
support him.
You
The
know,
most irrelevant part of the whole football program. It's
But
so
yeah.
funny.
So I got Texas as the champion. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be Quinn Ewers. It could be Arch Manning.
We'll see. We'll see.
Time will
I like
tell.
these
Saturday
brackets though.
starts
We got some
Friday.
kind of spicing them up. I got kind of the classic bracket. Like I go pretty standard. Payton's gone full nut job with Boise State going to the final, and Cam. I like the pick of Penn State winning the first round, but seeing them in the championship would be wild. A team that nobody really expected.
And that's
to
why
make it that
I
far.
think, that Big Ten, iron sharpens iron. When you lose to Ohio State but have a gritty battle, and then you got to go up against a Notre Dame team that's pretty similar. I do think that kind of benefits them. Now, if they have to go up against Georgia, which I don't think they will, that's a different story. But who knows? We could very easily see a rematch of the SEC championship in the championship as well.
Yep, that's very possible. And we could also all look like fools and Oregon wins the whole thing. So who knows?
Or in the first round, everybody gets upset and we all look like fools either way. So don't forget to bring your brackets on Saturday, boys. We got to check this paper.
I'll have a photo. By the way, when I pick you up, Payton, to go to the bar, it'll be halftime for Texas. So haul your ass. We're moving.
Oh, we don't gotta watch Texas.
Oh yeah, you can walk. I don't care.
Not a sponsor, but Dina's has seafood pizza.
Yeah,
not
I
a
don't
sponsor
think
yet, but Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's does not have
Buc-ee's.
seafood pizza, but definitely has
Brisket.
great brisket and a whole wall full of different beef jerkies and burritos and
Beaver nuggets,
turkey and nuggets and tendies and mac and cheese. And
you can get all your grocery shopping for
and
the night for a family dinner at Buc-ee's
nice
and get your gas.
And bathrooms that are clean and cheap gas, and they pay their employees well, and it's really big, so it looks cool. And I don't know how long I'm going to go on for this. And they have lots of other cool things. Okay, yeah, I'm going to be done now. That was fun, though.
I just wanted to keep on.
That was fun, though.
Wait, hold on, Keegan.
Yes, hashtag ad. Indeed, we're getting paid for this.
We're trying to. We're trying to.
You know, a guy from Buc-ee's, Keegan, send us our way.
They just opened one in Amarillo, Texas. On their Twitter page. If you don't follow them on Twitter, go ahead and do that as well, and say that We Like Sports PC on Twitter sent you there.
I love how you timed that so that's scrolling underneath the bottom. You're like,
I did not play either.
Cam is dialed in today, boys. Let's go.
This is what happens when we're all here, and when you're here, you're
Queer.
I thought you were going to say when you're here, you're queer, but it's probably
easy. This is a PG.
And we're off YouTube. Damn it.
There's
why I
the
whispered
COVID
it.
shot.
You didn't whisper it quietly enough.
But before we go,
yes.
The one thing we have to talk about is the NBA Cup tonight. Bucks.
Oh, I forgot there's one game, right?
Versus the Thunder. Yes, sir.
Oh, boy.
Who do you have? I personally have the Oklahoma City Thunder winning this game. But I do think Giannis scores over 30 points. I do think Damian Lillard scores over 4 3-pointers. I do think Bobby Portis Jr. gets over 15 points.
Is this Sunday now? Is this Sunday? When did we time travel to Sunday?
Dude,
What was the
I'm
Ohio
just
State
saying,
score so I can go bet on that, apparently? Jesus.
Ohio State money line over Tennessee.
Wow. I said score. I wanted perfect score.
Nope. You got a perfect bracket right here. That's all you get.
Fair enough.
Perfect bracket.
What are you laughing at?
Cam's the one that picked the perfect slate on Sunday.
I did.
Yeah,
that
you know
you?
how many people tailed them?
I shared that with you guys too, and neither one of you followed it.
Well,
Yeah,
Avi has a good reason.
I do.
Yeah.
Why?
You know why?
Why?
You know why?
No, I'm not following.
Dude. Keegan said that the Bucks are winning tonight.
You asked me who's winning this. If you follow Warren Ziders at all, he's got a song that he covers. Ride the Lightning and Feel the Thunder, and we're gonna be feeling the Thunder, winning tonight.
Avi,
All
who
right.
do you think wins?
Honestly, I was not a huge fan of the Bucks to start the season. They look like crap, and I think they're finally starting to hit their stride. I think Bucks win this game. I do know they're not favored in this game. It's like something like 4.5 or 5 towards Oklahoma.
4.5.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think the Bucks have started to play well, and I can see them winning this game. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Always got to
And
be the odd man out.
last but not least, do you like the concept of the NBA Cup? Because for one, the Bucks, like you said, were really crappy to start the season. They did not look good. Cavs ended up losing or almost losing to them in a close game early on. Played without Giannis, still a close game. Somehow, some way, doesn't mean anything in this tournament whatsoever. But the Bucks have the potential to win the NBA Cup after being irrelevant.
If you win the NBA Cup, congratulations. Don't hang up a damn banner like the Lakers did for it.
That was pretty funny when they did that.
That was corny.
Yeah, it definitely was. I've actually been thinking about this. With all the rest that the Cavs have gotten, is there any chance that Kenny Atkinson and the Cavs were playing 4D chess when they chose to basically only lose NBA Cup games so that their players would get more rest and wouldn't have to play more games than other teams?
Honestly, that would be genius. And
Anyone
also,
think about that?
Keegan's hitting it on the head right now.
did you guys see it all?
Dude, can you go get it?
Post game with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland right next to one another.
Are you talking about in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go, gotta pull it up because that was.
Please do.
absolutely
We can end on the Cavs clip as we always do.
Well, of course, that's the only right way to do it. I'm not even gonna end up trying to find it because it's gonna take too much time. But
Keegan Andres Jimenez is winning MVP.
I swear to God.
That would be the Cleveland thing to do.
well, he's not wrong. But on that note, stay tuned. Sunday, 11:45, 12:45, week 16.
16.
Week 16, round 2 of fantasy playoffs
Week
for most
16.
people. We will be around on.
I'll have another money line a
Sunday.
little bit earlier this time.
Sweet.
Oh, breaking news. Mike Vick plans to accept the head coaching job at Norfolk State.
Teddy Bridgewater just broke that news in Indiana Insiders.
Virginian pilot, according to ESPN.
Okay. Well,
but make sure you end up catching us on Sunday, 11:45, 12:45. We'll dive into fantasy football. We could bet on that. Make sure you end up tuning in. Keegan will be there. Make sure your notifications are there. Keegan says the Packers are running the table and finishing 13-4. Andres Jimenez is winning the MVP. Pete Alonso is going to be a Cub. Boise
Kent
State's
State's
going to win
winning
the
the
national championship. This is all things that Keegan is saying right now.
Keegan, because the Packers were the last leg in my money line and won me a lot of money there. Go Packs, go. That's for you.
Go Pack,
You only
go.
get to do that this week, Cam.
Exactly, that's it.
Wait, hold on. Keegan's not letting us end the show.
This guy knows it all.
But one more thing to say, guys, before we end the show in very true fashion.
So where we gotta stay? Gotta stay dangerous. Tell 'em. Always and forever.
We'll see you guys next week, Tuesday, 6 to 7 o'clock. Sunday, 11:45, 7:45. Wait,
Can you?
11:45 to 12:45. I mixed up my times, but we'll see you guys soon. Take care. Thanks for tuning in at We Like Sports PC, at Payton Vince, at Sports Boy Cam, at Avi Elrich, and we'll see you soon.